Robert Blake, one of the most iconic and controversial actors of his generation, died at age 89 from heart disease on March 9, 2023. Blake was best known for his Emmy-winning role as Tony Baretta in the hit 70s TV show Baretta, his portrayal of Perry Smith in the film adaptation of In Cold Blood, and his unsettling role in David Lynch's cult classic Lost Highway. While he was an accomplished and highly celebrated actor, Blake's life was also marked by scandal and tragedy. He was accused of violently murdering his second wife, Bonnie Lee Bakley, in 2001, but was acquitted by a criminal jury in 2005. He was eventually found liable for her wrongful death by a civil jury and ordered to pay $30 million to her children. Facts First presents Robert Blake's cause of death is utterly tragic. Robert Blake was born Michael James Gubitosi on September 18, 1933, in Nutley, New Jersey. His parents were Italian immigrants who worked as vaudeville performers. His father was an alcoholic who abandoned the family when Blake was 6 years old. His mother was a violent woman who beat him and his siblings regularly. She also forced him to work as a child actor since he was 2. Blake later said he was unsure of his precise date of birth, believing it fell sometime in September or October. He started his acting career in 1939 when he joined the cast of Our Gang, aka The Little Rascals. He played Mickey, one of the gang members, until 1942. He then appeared in several other films and TV shows as a child actor, such as Moki, The Red Pony, The Treasure of Lost Canyon, and The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Blake suffered from physical and emotional trauma because of his childhood. He had nightmares, flashbacks, and panic attacks. He also developed a rebellious and distrustful personality. He said he hated his parents and wanted to kill them. He also hated Hollywood and the people who allegedly exploited him. Tragically, he often expressed he felt lonely and misunderstood by everyone. Blake tried to escape from his abusive childhood by joining the Army at 17. He served in the Korean War for 2 years, but didn't find peace there either. He only saw more violence and death, which added to his trauma. Blake returned to Hollywood after his military service, but he changed his name to Robert Blake to distance himself from his past. He also tried to find more challenging and meaningful roles as an actor. He was quoted as saying acting was his therapy and his salvation. His first adult role was in The Purple Gang in 1959, where he played a gangster. He gained recognition for his roles in films such as Town Without Pity, PT 109, and This Property is Condemned. His big breakthrough came in 1967 when he starred as Perry Smith, one of the 2 killers who murders a Kansas family in Cold Blood, based on Truman Capote's book. Blake's performance was widely praised by critics and audiences alike for its intensity and realism. He received a Best Actor Golden Globe nomination for it. He continued acting in films and TV shows such as Tell Them Willie Boy Is Here, Electra Glide in Blue, and The Godfather Part 3. But he became best known for his role as Tony Baretta, a streetwise detective who often went undercover to solve crimes in the hit television series Baretta. It aired from 1975 to 78. He won an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series for his performance in 75. Lost Highway. Robert Blake's role in David Lynch's 1997 cult classic Lost Highway was a cameo appearance as a mysterious character known only as the Mystery Man. He was a pale-faced man with shaved eyebrows and black hair who claimed to be at 2 places at once and seemed to have supernatural powers. He appeared in several scenes throughout the film, often interacting with Fred Madison, played by Bill Pullman, a jazz saxophonist who was accused of murdering his wife. Blake's performance was praised by critics and fans for its creepiness and ambiguity. He says he accepted the role because he admired David Lynch's work and always had wanted to work with him. He also said he didn't need makeup for his appearance, as he had shaved his eyebrows himself after his wife's death. Lost Highway was Blake's last film role before his arrest and trial for murder. He didn't act again after later being acquitted. The film has since become a cult classic. The Murder. Blake's acting career came to an abrupt halt after he was accused of brutally murdering his wife, Bonnie Lee Bakley, on May 4, 2001. Bakley was shot to death in Blake's car outside a restaurant where they had just dined. Blake insisted he had left her alone in the car to retrieve a gun he'd forgotten inside the restaurant, and that he found her wounded when he returned. He evidently called 911 and tried to revive her, but she was pronounced dead at the hospital. Blake was arrested almost a year later on April 18, 2002. He was charged with murder, conspiracy, and solicitation of murder. The prosecution alleged that Blake had hired 2 men to kill his wife, but that they backed out at the last minute. The prosecution also presented evidence that Blake disliked his wife, whom he married after she became pregnant with his child. Blakely had a history of fraud and deception and had pursued relationships with other celebrities before Blake. Blake's trial began December 20, 2004. His defense team argued he was innocent and that the police had ignored other possible suspects, such as Blakely's former husbands and associates. They also questioned the credibility of the prosecution's witness, who had criminal records or motives to lie. The defense also presented several alibi witnesses who testified they saw Blake inside the restaurant at the time of the shooting. On March 16, 2005, after a 3-month-long trial, a jury acquitted Blake of all charges. However, Blake's legal troubles weren't over. He faced a civil lawsuit filed by Blakely's children who accused him of wrongful death. A civil jury eventually found him liable for Blakely's death November 18, 2005, and ordered him to pay $30 million in damages. It was later reduced to $15 million by an appeals court. The aftermath. Robert Blake's life after his acquittal wasn't easy. He lost most of his fortune on his legal fees and debts and had to sell his house and belongings. Reportedly, he lived on Social Security and a Screen Actors Guild pension. He had to file for bankruptcy after his deceased wife's family filed that civil suit. He tried to revive his acting career, but he didn't get any offers from Hollywood, who viewed him as a pariah. He said he hoped to give his best performance again, but he only appeared in a few low-budget films and documentaries. Blake additionally wrote an autobiography titled Tales of a Rascal, What I Did for Love in 2017, where he shared his stories of growing up in poverty, becoming a child star, working with famous directors and actors, marrying 4 times, and facing trial for murder. He suffered from various health problems in his later years, like diabetes, dementia, prostate cancer, and heart disease. He said he was lonely and depressed and had no friends or family except his daughter, Rose. He said he loved her very much and wanted to protect her from media attention. Blake died from heart disease March 9, 2023, at age 89. He was surrounded by family at home in Los Angeles. Hollywood and the media had mixed reactions to Robert Blake's death. Some outlets focused on his acting career and his roles in films such as In Cold Blood and TV shows like Baretta, while others highlighted his murder trial and controversial personal life. Some of his former co-stars and friends expressed their condolences and praised his talent, while others criticized him for his alleged involvement in his wife's death. His daughter Rose said she was grateful for the time they had together and that he was a loving father. Now it's time to hear from you. How will you remember Robert Blake? Let us know in the comments section below.